The Pokemon Sword and Shield Isle of Armor update has brought a lot of fun to competitive Pokemon. With the returning Pokemon, their updated movesets, and then the wacky move tutors, there's tons of stuff to experiment with. So here's 15 more broken strategies for you to try in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And we're going to be starting off with Clawitzer because it gets Terrain Pulse. Wait, that's a Pulse move. Oh, Mega Launcher works with that. So this Pokemon's Pulse moves have 1.5 times power, and then the numbers just start getting wacky. So it's a 50 base power. However, the power doubles on terrain, and then it becomes that type, and then in everything but Misty Terrain, it also gets 30% more. So we're getting to 100 base power, Terrain Pulse is another 50%, then another 30%. We're going to 200 power on a non-stab move. Clawitzer blows things up, and that's kind of like the fantasy here. You know, it's kind of weird. Clawitzer got a little bit of usage in Generation 6, and then hasn't really been viable since. But now, with that Terrain Pulse, you can do some pretty crazy stuff with it. You throw the Life Orb on there, you're finding neutral one-shots pretty easily, especially with a 120 special attack. But the reason why Clawitzer wasn't really used too much is that speed. It usually just gets beat up and bullied, and it didn't have too much crazy damage. Cool, your Water Pulse becomes a Surf. That's not going to one-shot a lot of things. Like the Aura Sphere and the other coverage is really nice, but can't really do too much with it. So you mostly want to run Clawitzer in doubles, or as a very specific response in single battles. However, you can't really do it against grassy terrain, because Rillaboom just priorities you and then hits you with the Grassy Glide, and it's over. But if you put it next to a Rillaboom, so doubles, you lead Rillaboom, Clawitzer, you're just going to be in a really good position, because Rillaboom can, like, one-shot a Pokemon with Choice Band, Grassy Glide, Clawitzer can tank a hit, or Rillaboom tanks a hit, and then Clawitzer goes for the Terrain Pulse, and then you're going 2 for 1 in some turns, which is pretty wild. Also works really well on Trick Room, or as an anti-Trick Room, because Trick Room's going to be Indeedee. Indeedee brings the Psychic Terrain, Clawitzer comes in when that terrain's still active, and then you have a lot of damage. Also, if the opponent Dynamaxes and sets a new terrain, that's a thing. You're pretty slow, and you're in this weird 59 speed tier, so you actually, like, find ways of squeezing in between opponents' Trick Room compositions, and you might be able to KO the faster Pokemon on their Trick Room team by utilizing the like active terrains in their Trick Room against them and stuff. So it's just like a fun Pokemon to splash in and find out where it works the best, and then just does really well. Also, Water Pulse, Aura Sphere, still good for coverage. The Protect is there for like the opposing Grassy Glides or the opposing setup weirdness, but once you can kind of get in, it works out really well. One thing you can also do is bring like an Indeedee. If you bring an Indeedee male, oh man, that can go like Scarf Expanding Force and just ruin things, and then Terrain Pulse is definitely going to be picking up whatever's left. So you can just do a lot here. Now, the terrain wars are getting more serious than ever, so Clawitzer might find itself on the bad end of a terrain trade and not be able to get used too much. But if you max out the hit points, you're taking a hit. And if you're using a move on terrain that's hitting neutral, you're KOing another Pokemon. So it can go 1 for 1 or more, and it kind of works with and against a lot of other compositions. So that's pretty cool. Slowbro. Let's not forget about regular old Slowbro, which actually seems to be better than Galarian Slowbro, just because regular Slowbro is tanky. It doesn't have to worry about too many things. Still has the Regenerator ability. You come in, Iron Defense, Calm Mind, you get set up, you get unkillable, you can slack off whenever you want, Toxic isn't as much of a threat, and then you can Scald and one-shot or two-shot most opponents while being, again, unkillable. This is how you 6-0 tank sweep. Scald is sketchy though, because there's a lot of Pokemon that have the Storm Drain or the Water Absorb. Water type. Where's the Water Absorb ability? Alternatively, I cannot be stupid. I cannot put in the moves. I can put in the Pokemon, because that's how you search for different kinds of Pokemon. So we go Water Absorb. That's a filter. And, oh yeah, now we got Politoed. So that's a new potential Water Absorb, even though it's like 99% Drizzle. Still something you have to worry about. And then there's the Lapras. I mean, Lapras, you can see it with the Shell Armor, but if it has the Water Absorb, throwing a Water-type move on it, that's just going to be a loss. Mantine, that's a big one. Vaporeon, Lantern. Quagsire's normally going to be unaware. So, like, a lot of Pokemon have it. Like, a surprising amount have it. But you're only going to see it on select ones. However, Lapras can still, like, complete 100% wall you. So, I mean, Ice Beam is a good option, because that at least hits everything. Like, the idea is you just get +6 special attack, so it doesn't matter if it's a resisted hit, it doesn't matter if it's a non-stab hit. You're going to be doing more damage to the opponent than they're doing to you. In a 3v3, PP doesn't matter as much, so even if it's a 5-hit KO, you're still sweeping. And then in longer games, you know, that's a thing. Also, you can just play around the Slowbro. You know, you have the Regenerator, so you can set up a little bit, chip in a little bit of damage, switch out, go into another Pokemon, and then try to play around. Like, if you can remove, If you're confident you can remove their Water Absorb Pokemon, then yeah, you can go and run the Scald. If you are confident that you can remove their Dark-type Pokemon, which you can also play around with like just heavy Fairy Pressure, then you can put in the Psychic or the Psyshock, and now you're still going to be able to just crush through everything. So, things to consider, but yeah, Slowbro, still really good on that setup and better than the Galarian Slowbro. So let's remind people of just the regenerator silliness that this Pokemon's capable of while being just pretty tanky. You can also just run more direct offenses. Like, it still has Slack Off, so you can just run multi-coverage with Slack Off and still tank really well. Max hit points. On the Iron Defense set, you go max Special Defense with the defensive nature, so you take a hit and then you just kind of stack up. You can also go full Special Defense, and then depending on like what moves you have, just kind of play around. So if you don't have Iron Defense and you want more defensive investment, and then you just kind of hurt things while having Regenerator. Multi-regenerated comps are just ridiculous, so you can get away with that. Volcarona. So Volcarona has a lot of weird different playstyles depending on how it wants to take over the game. As you can tell, I like going towards tankier styles because if you can slow down an opponent's offensive pressure and then just like halt it completely, you eventually take over the game. So I like running full hit points, full defensive Volcarona with that Quiver Dance. If you get like 2 Quiver Dances, special attacks don't do any damage to you, and then you also have like a lot of KO pressure, like 135. You don't need to invest a 135 special attack when it gets doubled, and then you're using something like a Fiery Dance, which can also raise your special attack by 1, or not Quiver Dance, or Bug Buzz, which just does a lot of damage. You can Bug Buzz synergy with Swarm if you want to, so after taking a big hit, you can then just like commit to the Swarm, maybe rest after that, and then just like make sure you're getting KOs. The idea is the Chesto Berry is going to buy you at least 2 Quiver Dance setups, and then you're just looking at straight KOs from there. And then like the Fiery Dance +1 is also just going to be like, oh, now I'm +2 special offense, doubled my speed, and +3 special attack. Nothing extra survives. Now you can go with a more offensive Volcarona that, you know, instead of the, like, it's just a lot weirder now. Because you don't have the roost, so you don't just have the safety of being able to roost whenever, so I like the Chesto Resto. But, you know, just kind of like go into the Giga Drain, that way you have some healing, and then you just run the Modest Nature instead, so you get the instant damage, and you also want to put in something into your speed. So, we'd effectively have to redo this entire Pokemon, but it'd be like Modest Nature, max special attack, max speed, point into, defense might not even matter at that point, point to hit points, just kind of cover against everything a little better, and then could Life Orb, that way at like +1 Quiver Dance, you're looking at effectively the same damage. So, go +1 Quiver Dance, Life Orb, Giga Drain heals off the Life Orb damage, Bug Buzz, Fire Dance, Stab is still going to be like a lot of just KO potential, and then at the +1 Quiver Dance, you're still outspeeding everything. So the idea is you just want to like bulk out a sweeper Pokemon just enough, or set up against the tank. You set up against tank Pokemon, by the time their sweeper comes in, well, you're faster, they're frail, and they don't want to eat any of this. So that's the thing, and then you can just try out different kinds of Volcarona. Volcarona's still here. Volcarona's still scary. Loses to the Roost, but it's a reduced dex and a lot different of a game, and you can also just like Dynamax Volcarona. You turn that Fiery Dance into a Sunny Day, and then you get more damage out of it once you KO them with the higher damage Max Flare, so. Got some weird things that can happen with this Pokemon. Not as super reliable, but it's still something that you have to worry about. And this is where, like, there's so many other things that are going to happen outside of these Pokemon that just change up the game in a really crazy way. Like, Volcarona and Talonflame exist now, so you're going to see a lot more Stealth Rocks, because, like, just Charizard wasn't enough. And Ferrothorn isn't really super common, so the Stealth Rocks usage kind of dropped off pretty hard. There is Hippowdon, so you might actually want the Giga Drain, so you can +1 the Quiver Dance, hit the Hippowdon before it can Whirlwind you or something, and then the Stealth Rocks is even nastier. So there's a lot of weird things, so Stealth Rocks might get into more play, which means Pokemon like Slowbro can set up more against the Stealth Rocks, while terrains are going on, so Clawitzer may or may not be usable, and then Pincurchin becomes viable or something, because you anti-terrain with the Pincurchin. So, things to consider with this. Right now, the thing is you just want a Sharp Beak, Adamant Nature, max attack, and then you can do weird things on the speed. So, what I'm thinking about with this is I'm trying to outspeed 100 base speed Pokemon at +1. Because they're going to be at 167, they might be Scarfed, they might have an Airstream behind them. Any faster Pokemon than Airstream means you might want to like kind of pay attention to that. Also, a lot of Talonflame, they're just running this. So if you want to anti a Talonflame, I recommend some like weird heavy speed creep so you can at least get over the Talonflame and then you can stay bulky. Or you can also just sacrifice a lot of bulk because it kind of doesn't matter, and then pump enough speed into the Pokemon to where you're comfortable against a wide range of speed tiers and a wide range of pluses and weirdness, because that's just the game right now. But the idea is Sharp Beak, Airstream. If you get the KO with that, which is not super difficult since you're rocking crazy amounts of damage, like this is just Talonflame with its old Gale Wings. You get the max Airstream, that's a +1 speed. Now you're just super fast again, and if you KO the opponent, you don't lose your Gale Wings, so you can just keep doing stuff like that. Ideally, you could get a bulk up first. Like, if you're just going up against slower Pokemon, the Airstream doesn't matter. So against a bulkier, slower Pokemon, you bulk up, the Airstream is a guaranteed KO, and now you're in effectively the same position where almost no Pokemon can touch you, unless there's, like, some shenanigans going on in that battle. And then after that, you Airstream again, you can Flare Blitz, you can set your Sunny Day, you have Roost Opportunity. This can also turn into, like, the max guard with the bulk up. And then when you come out of it, you know, you're a +2 Talonflame, potentially under Sun that's already gotten a KO that also might have a +1 attack from bulk up. That's a sweep! That's the game ending right there. So, Rock-type Pokemon, still problematic. But at some point, you know, the Rock-types, they can't hurt you anymore, or you just play around them. And then, like, yeah, there's 5 other Pokemon in the battle. Talonflame can find a way through it. So, there's that. Zoroark. Zoroark's back. Also keeps its Sludge Bomb. This Pokemon makes the game really fancy, guys, because the Illusion ability, a lot of people forgot about it. A lot of people are going to sleep on that. But then, again, like, it is... You look at the team select, this Pokemon appears as the last Pokemon in the party until it takes direct damage. So, it's kind of like a PSA. If you see someone with Zoroark, pay attention to the last one. Most likely going to be a fighting type. They're going to try to whiff the Psychic. But then there's mind games inside of that. They throw out their fighting type Pokemon, you don't use the Psychic move, and then it turns out it's actually the fighting type Pokemon. Weird stuff happens now. Focus Sash, because you can just buy your time. Nasty Plot. 105 speed tier. Not the best, but still really good. It is a Pokemon that sometimes just try, like, throw out really early on and do some weird things with. Like, if they go for Stealth Rocks, you Nasty Plot, you still have your Focus Sash. This Pokemon, well, until you switch out and then you lose it because of the Stealth Rocks, so then you have to hard commit. But, I mean, Nasty Plot full health Zoroark because they're setting up, you Dynamax that, and you just start having fun. Sludge Bomb, that's good for Anti-Fairy now, and Zoroark actually has it. Also, using the max Ooze, another +1 special attack while scoring KO against Grass or Fairy type Pokemon. It's kind of cool. Dark Pulse, Stab, still a lot of damage. Like, it's still a 120 special attacking Pokemon. You get really anything pumped into this, it's going to be really good. Flamethrower, just the coverage. Like, Zoroark's coverage is really nice. You don't have to worry about the event anymore. And now there's opportunities for it to get going. Another Pokemon that has gotten like a surprising amount of usage is the Alolan Marowak. Mostly because Trick Room is all the rage and super popular right now. There's so many weird dynamics to the Trick Room because you pretty much have to run it with the Indeedee so you get the Trick Room set up in the Psychic terrain so you don't have to worry about getting like stopped out by that. But other people are anti-terraining now, so I mean, it's like Rillaboom and Incineroar. What you gonna do? That grassy terrain is going to underspeed into that Indeedee, and then now they don't have their terrain protecting them anymore, so they can get faked out. They can still do Follow Me, but the damage is still kind of nutty, and things get silly. Or faster fake out Pokemon to outdo the Follow Me, because Follow Me is +3 priority and Fake Out's +3 priority, so getting a faster Pokemon than the Indeedee means you can stop that, and then you can still hit the opponent. It's nuts. But somehow you can also put Marowak onto a Trick Room team with a bit more risk, but a lot more reward, because now you have Thick Club, doubling the attack of an already, you know, the 80 attack is decent, but I mean, Talonflame has like a lower attack than Amoonguss. That's my favorite Pokemon trivia ever. And then you double that, so now you're just hitting harder than a Talonflame while being ridiculous under Trick Room. And then Poltergeist. Oh, it's got better Shadow Bone now. Like, you can use Flare Blitz with Rockhead, just take no damage. Poltergeist is also going to be a 110 stab ghost move that just one-shots everything. Bone Ring, 100 base power. You're dealing in 100 to 120 base power under Trick Room with a doubled attack. Nasty. People are also running Lightning Rod in some situations because it's really good in doubles that way. Just to kind of have the immunity, kind of absorb some electric attacks. We're going to see more of that because of the synergy with the new move, the Rising Voltage. So that's a potential thing. And people are just going for raw damage too. Like, there's more diversion going on because people aren't just discharging everywhere. So we have that, and then, yeah, Big Hurt, Protect first turn, set up a Trick Room. on a reliable Trick Room Pokemon. You know, you can still do Dusclops. Hopefully you don't get taunted out, and then if that goes successfully, you're good to go. Let's go and check out some of these other Pokemon I've been sitting on. The dual Wingbeat Scyther. I should have mentioned this in my other video because this is like top 15 for sure. Scyther, once again, 105 speed. Like this is effectively just going to be Zoroark, but bulkier and kind of the same level of scariness in its own different way. So Eviolite Scyther is always tanky. Like 70, 80, 80, but then 50% more on that. You have to hit it with a rock type move or it's going to be fine. And it's also 105 speed tier. So this Pokemon actually can enter the game in better states because it doesn't have to worry about Focus Sash. It doesn't have to worry about things. So you take out the opponent's sweeping Pokemon. You get rid of their Cinderace. You get rid of their Talonflame. Probably their Dragapult or something. Like, they only have bulky-ish Pokemon. Scyther can anti-stall with that Swords Dance and then slap them with a massive dual Wing Beat. So, actually, you don't want Swarm. You want Technician. I was about to say, like, Swarm into it for the X-Scissor boost. Nah. The reason why I do is Technician, dual Wing Beat. I think that just means I didn't change the ability when I set this up. I'm pretty sure, or I hope to God I did not put in that manual Swarm when this is the entire strategy. So people talk about Technician, dual Wing Beat on the Scizor. I think that's kind of waste. I think you still want to just kind of use that Bullet Punch with the priority, with the safety, and with all those other shenanigans. But you can dual Wing Beat with the Scizor against slower Pokemon. Again, like anti-stall and like bulk weirdness going on. So we got this going on, and they just dual Wing Beat, Swords Dance, X-Scissor. Roost is going to be Transfer. So make sure you keep the Roost on your Transfer Scizor and your Transfer Scythers. Other than that, I don't really know what to put here for like ranked. Does still have Defog. And I guess it kind of doesn't matter because, again, if you're trying to remove, like, the opponent's fast Pokemon, you're not in this game to have, like, some kind of setup war where, like, you're chipping away a Pokemon and they're chipping away you and you're just healing off of the Roost or something. Pretty much what you want to do is Swords Dance and then one-shot everything on Dual Wing Beat because Technician is going to buff it to a 120 base power move. And then you're at +2 with a 120 attack using a 120 base power move with Stab. It's kind of filthy. They just have the X's are there for that extra stab for that extra just kind of hit on top. Defog, yeah, like this is again where the interactions get weird. Defog clears terrain, and you have heavy resist. Like you can lead Scyther into the opponent's Rillaboom. Maybe not. You don't even need to worry about defogging it at that point. And also, you just straight dual Wing Beat them, and I think they die. Okay, that's an absurd counter to the Rillaboom. Aerial Ace has a 75% chance to KO. Yeah, you can actually get a free Swords Dance again. Like, you can switch into the Rillaboom if it's banded, Swords Dance against it, and you're still taking no damage because that hard grass resist. And then you can still take a third hit and hit it with the dual Wing Beat. So, that's some pretty cool stuff, right? Oh, wait, actually, no, wait. Yeah, okay, I was about to say, I wanted to make sure I did this right. We could do the 40. That makes it look better, because I'm just kind of doing the math all right. No, 40 plus Technician, doubling it to give you an effective 120. Dual Wing Beat isn't programmed yet. Yeah, Dual Wing Beat isn't programmed yet, it just shows the Dual Chop. So we have to kind of like edit it in ourselves. However, 46.1... after grassy terrain, no, let's get rid of the grass. This is also with grassy terrain damage. Like, everything there, just not enough. So, Rillaboom, 91.8% chance to a KO. Well, that means the Dual Wing Beat is hitting twice. So, I guess there's something in the damage calculation that makes it more damage for a 40 base power move, getting buffed by Technician, and then hitting twice, than just a raw 120 move. So, it's 200 on the lowest, compared to 102 on the lowest. So it actually, yeah, there's more damage in that, which is really interesting to think about. It's even better than I thought. Nice. So we got that going on. Craziness. We can also look at some of the other Pokemon. Klefki, this is my boy. This is what I'm going to be running. Get ready, guys. Max hit points, max special defense, defensive nature, iron defense, GG. So you prankster iron defense against physical, Prankster Draining Kiss against special, Draining Kiss, Prankster Calm Mind against special. You get 2 Calm Minds, Citrus Berry activates, Draining Kiss, and then you're unkillable. Get all your health back, and then you just win. I think the trick against Klefki, or not against, the trick with Klefki is that as you're setting up iron defenses against a physical Pokemon, you want to Calm Mind to get ready for some special. There's a couple of different moves you can put in here. If the Yawn, if the Anti-Stall, if the Sleep Powder, if the Spore is super common, then you can run Safeguard. Like, they lead Venusaur, or you bring in Klefki and their Venusaur, and you just Safeguard it. Well, that gives you also the ability to keep some of your other Pokemon safe if you switch out, but you predict, like, Venusaur can't do anything to a Steel Fairy. So they either switch, which means you have a free Safeguard for the next time it comes in, or they go for that desperate Sleep Powder. They go for the Sleep Powder, you're safeguarding it, and now there's no options against Venusaur, as you can get a Calm Mind on their switch, an Iron Defense on their next switch, and then you can win it like that. You can also put in the Recycle. That way you always have that healing potential. You know, once you drop below half health, you use Recycle, that's 25%. If you're +2 or 4 on Iron Defense, +1 or 2 on Calm Mind, they're not going to be doing much more than 25% of your health. Probably 2 to 3 on Calm Mind on that one, and then you're still doing pretty good on that. There's no Garchomp, so Klefki is a bit better off in that situation, and yeah, you can, there's like a lot of weird things. I was even thinking about the Magic Room, because Magic Room gets rid of items, and if you already use your Citrus Berry, and they bring in like a fresh Pokemon that has like a Life Orb, or a Choice Band, or a Choice Specs, you're removing 25% of their damage. You're removing 30% of their damage. So by using that Magic Room, while the item doesn't have any effect on you anymore, so you're getting more effective tankiness by removing a sweeping item than by using another Calm Mind or Iron Defense, depending at the state of the game you're in. So you can just make them even more frail. Haven't decided on what to commit to. Thunder Wave, that's another one. Problem is, like, if you're using these offensive ones like Thunder Wave, they have a Dark-type Pokemon, can't do anything against it. Draining Kiss hits them super effective anyway, so I guess that's okay. Weird stuff. But this Klefki has gone 6-0 many times. You can find those videos somewhere on the channel. We got Porygon-z. Porygon-z's back, sets its own Trick Room. It's unkillable with Heavy Light Recover. Ice Beam Tri-Attack for the coverage. Can run this in doubles. You can also bring a singles Trick Room. Like, Porygon-z is a really reliable singles Trick Room. The traceability is cool, but you also can fish for download. Like, if you get a special attack on the download, kind of doesn't matter anymore. Don't know why this is Quiet Nature. We got some weirdness. You can just go Bold for the full defense. You can go Calm to, like, balance it out and be, like, just tanky overall. Generally, you find stronger physical attacks than special, but Dynamax and some of the new things going on in the game kind of mixes it up. So you could just go for, like, an almost completely even split Pokemon like this. And then your Porygon-z is looking fine. But yeah, it's like you get the +1 special attack. I mean, 246 doesn't sound like a lot, but then 370 is like, oh, okay. Now this thing hurts. Tri-Attack Stab has a weird chance to do some status to the opponent. Ice Beam for coverage. And the idea is, once again, you're doing more damage than they're doing to you. They do 40%, you do 40%. You have Trick Room, so you're faster. You recover. You can just keep recovering. Even if they're doing more damage. Even if you're doing 30 and they're doing 40, you recover that 40%, and your 30% are sticking, while also fishing for status and stuff. You can also just run like a Quiet Nature one for Trick Room as well. Well, actually, you wouldn't want Calm. So you'd want to do Relaxed for defense, and then Sassy for special defense for the Trick Room stuff. You can also run Analytic non-Trick Room, and just have, you know, free up this Trick Room slot for something else. Since there's a lot of coverage, there's a lot of weird things that the Porygon-z can do. Magic Coat. Now, Magic Coat kind of sounds a lot cooler than it ends up being, because, like, oh, you Magic Coat the Spore onto a Grass-type Pokemon, so then nothing happens. You Magic Coat the status onto a Pokemon that's not really going to be effective. Yeah, you Magic Coat, and then it's just not going to matter anymore. So it can be a cool thing to have in doubles, since that's going to have a bit better chance to work in some situations. So you can do that. You can just have another offensive move, and then you're just a like, this is one of the most true bulky attackers in the game. And if you want to have the 4 moves, you can also run Quiet Nature. Yeah, you could, because you're still really tanky. Again, there's like a weird amount of power differential in this game. So if you have the Quiet Nature, and it's just like getting blown up too much, then go to Tanky. If you have the Tanky and you're not doing enough damage, then you can go to Quiet, or find some like mix in between. For all we know, it actually just might be something like this. The Quiet Nature gives you the most points because natures are based off the base stats. So you're getting the most base points that isn't going to affect your defenses, and then you still have like the relative tankiness for whatever's in the meta, and this lets you survive on like 45% every time, so you out recover while out damaging. I don't know. Can still Analytic for that extra damage with coverage. Shenanigans. Doesn't have Toxic anymore. So like you transfer Porygon-2 once you run Toxic and then do something completely different. Get rid of Tri-Attack, put in Toxic, and then you're just kind of like hitting them. I have a transfer Charge Beam for that special attack. That doesn't happen. So that's like Porygon-2 is just one of the most versatile Pokemon, even though its moveset is kind of hindered. Like you just look on this and it's all good stuff. Weird Agility Shenanigans. Magic Coat. That works out really well. Recycle. Don't want to do that with the Eviolite. I was also thinking Speed Swap? Like instead of doing Trick Room, you have Porygon take a hit, Speed Swap a fast Pokemon, and now it's fast and doing weird things. You can also do that on Porygon-Z, so that's something to take into consideration. It's got Power Swap. Even though it has like a lot of damage, I don't think Power Swap works. Trick Room, Electro Web, Coverage, Foul Play, Ally Switch. Ally Switch in doubles. That's also something you can run. So we can go back to the full tank Porygon. Trick Room, Recover, Tri-Attack, Ally Switch. Set up Trick Room, Ally Switch it, hit him with a Tri-Attack for damage, and then try to get something done. Is weird. Pokemon is weird. This is the classic. This is the shenanigans. This is how you run Porygon-Z. I want to see it. I'm going to be very disappointed if I don't. Again, speed tiers are kind of weird. Depending on like if you get outsped by something, then just remove hit points until you find the speed where you stop losing to that. But other than that, like hit points for the bulk, because 85, 70, 70 with max hit point is survivable. And then you use agility. You're now faster than everything with a 90 base. And then you last resort with adaptability. And everything dies. It's kind of cool. Silk Scarf. Yeah, that's a thing. Maybe download in some situations where it's like if you download and get that +1 attack, this is even scary. This is even more one-shotty and even more ridiculous. But you might need like a regenerator Pokemon with it. So it's like you bring in Porygon-Z after one of your Pokemon faints, or you get like a free Ghost switch in. Even though this doesn't work against Ghost type Pokemon. If they just have like a neutral or like a non-stab Shadow Ball, you bring this in once their Ghost type Pokemon are gone, and then you just go for it. You get the plus attack. Hey, good luck, have fun. You don't get it, you switch into one of your tank Pokemon, you just keep fishing until Porygon gets it. It's a weird way to play, but the adaptability last resort. It's a classic. It hurts. I want someone to run it. It's busted. Dusknoir now has the Poltergeist. So singles Trick Room, I think is possible. Doubles Trick Room, still viable. Not as safe as the Dusclops, but a lot scarier. Because you can still do Indeedee Dusknoir and then Trick Room on the... Like, cause the thing is, when Indeedee uses... Like, what's the point of having Eviolite Dusclops if Indeedee is just going to follow me anyways? So it's like, you follow me, you get your Trick Room, there's no priority in the game because the Psychic Terrain is stupid, and then you can now Poltergeist with a Life Orb and do a pretty good amount of damage. So... go and pull this back up because the Pokemon Showdown damage calculation doesn't fit on screen exactly together. Doing a solid hit to a Silvally. Silvally is like just the damage analog, but I mean like Adamant, max attack, using a 110 base power ghost move and a Life Orb. Hurts pretty good. Hurts pretty good. Let's look at something like a Jolteon. That's a KO. That's a big KO. Let's look at something like the Cinderace. Not always a KO. So, I wish that, like, I always thought Dusknoir had a higher attack. Like, if it had a 110 attack, that would change this Pokemon a lot. Even like a 105 attack would just feel better. So, I mean, 80, 75, kind of where the line is drawn, but still, like, a lot of damage, and it still has a lot of utility outside of that. So, you can go Poltergeist. You have Earthquake, or a lot of other different coverage moves. Ice Punch, various elemental punches, various physical hits. Rock Slide, Trick Room could still be a thing. So it does things. And then, like, my thought was more singles, though. Like, you can still run this in doubles. My thought in singles, you Trick Room, you you tank a hit against a sweeper Pokemon, you Trick Room, you Poltergeist, you KO it, or use, like, a super effective hit, you KO the opposing Pokemon, and then you just Destiny Bond. You can 2-for-1 on this Pokemon, and still keep, like, a turn of Trick Room for your Klutzer or something in singles. Yay! It could be crazy. It actually would be more than a turn of Trick Room, but I'm just saying, like, if weird things happen, the opponent can't 2-hit KO you, you have to 2-hit KO them, you still Destiny Bond. Like, this is like a cool way of getting a single Trick Room going, and it's still like a lot of damage. And Life Orb makes it to where you're more squishy, so the Destiny Bond works. Kind of works out. We got Golduck, Cloud9, Kind of much like the Porygon-z and much like the Slowbro, I'm just reminding you guys that this exists, and it's got some weird stuff. Clear Smog, Golduck, very nice to see to anti some Dynamax Pokemon, or any other kind of setup going on, if you can predict it. Protect, keep that Cloud9 active. Focus Sash, keep that Cloud9 active. Gets access to the Yawn. So pretty much you're just trying to reduce the opponent's damage. Like, they don't get their 50% damage buff anymore from whatever weather they're going for, or whatever synergy they're trying to find there. And then you're just kind of like holding them down while your other like Pokemon is beating them up. A bulky attacker or just a heavy hard sweeper Pokemon would be pretty effective right there. And then you just have like some other things you could run on the Golduck. Once again, it's just like, oh yeah, Golduck's Cloud9. Pretty solid. Kangaskhan. This is fun for doubles. Fake Out Scrappy. We have it now. So non-Indeedee Trick Room setups, non-Psychic Terrain, non-anti-priority. You just come in, you just fake out anything. Fake out the opposing Dragapult before it gets a chance to surf onto the Colossal, and now the opponent loses the game. You know, you can do weird stuff like that. And you also have eject button. So you can come in, you know, you take a hit, you swap out, eject button activates because of that, and then it's like, alright, can come back in whenever, fake out, helping hand. That's nice. Sucker Punch. Priority damage, always good to finish off a low health opponent. Body Slam, 30% chance to paralyze a target. Dizzy Punch was removed from the game. Unlucky. Dizzy Punch would be hilarious. On that, you just run Bulk on this Pokemon, and you're fine. So yeah, this is going to be a 3-hit KO Pokemon, or it can like survive just like an overwhelmingly powerful Dynamax hit that isn't super... Actually, might even be able to survive some Max Knuckles with this, because the game's weird. I was just trying to find balance. Once again, depending on what the meta is, more physical, you do that. More special, you do that. And then you just tank things out. You get 2 fake outs on this Pokemon. Potential 50% damage buff on another heavy Pokemon of yours. If your Dynamax Pokemon uses Max Steel Spike or Max Quake, Kangaskhan gets tankier, gets to help a little longer, and then 30% chance paralyzed could change the game pretty significantly. Have Azumarill. Remind you guys that Azumarill's back. I think Azumarill's bad, actually, because if they Dynamax, you don't have the Aqua Jet one-shot anymore. You also don't want Thick Fat. You want huge power. So, Belly Drum, Citrus Berry, huge power. You survive at low health. You priority them until they lose. If you're faster than them and you still need the damage, play rough as an option. Then, got some other things that, you know, just whatever other coverage feels right. Have the superpower. Normally, I'm like absolutely 100 against superpower, but the difference between +6 and +5 is negligible. So, that extra base power is worth it in those situations where you need it. So you can see the superpower. It's kind of like going through, seeing what else it gets. Not really too much. This Pokemon does have like moveset issues, but overall it's the same classic Azumarill. If you see it get Belly Drum against you, just Dynamax it, just survive the hit and KO it because it's going to be super low and super frail. Sharpedo's back. Sharpedo's got some weird stuff. Speed boost, so you protect, get the speed boost. 120 attack out of miniature, still strong, guys. Max speed because hit point and defensive investment isn't doing anything. So now you're outspeeding like certain +2 Pokemon. Especially like you protect, speed boost, score KO, hurt the opponent's Pokemon, do weird things. You're going to be fine. So there's that going on. Damage calculation shows that Crunch 1-hit KOs Dragapult. So you protect against Dragapult, you come in, you crunch it, GG Dragapult. No attack boosting, so it's like, yeah, super effective moves. Still pretty devastating when you are a Sharpedo. And then you can Destiny Bond. So the idea is like, yeah, that shows a super effective hit. So against any Pokemon, protect, speed boost, 2-shot him. Liquidation, neutral, 2-shot. Crunch, neutral, 2-shot. Because you got the Focus Sash active, and then Destiny Bond for the last Pokemon, or super effective hit, or late game cleanup. This synergizes pretty well with Stealth Rocks, even though I do think Stealth Rocks is a noob trap waste. If you build very specifically around it, Stealth Rocks can maybe sometimes be okay. And also, again, like now with Talonflame and more Volcarona, it's more justification on that. Just don't get... Like, if you use Stealth Rocks and they get a free setup on one of their Pokemon, you lose because of it. That's why. But if you're smart about it, you know, have them get chipped away to where Sharpedo is finding those finishing blows with the Liquidation, with the Crunch. The Protect Speed Boost outspeeds the Cinderace. So... You can do really well against Cinderace depending on what... And also, yeah, Cinderace wants to do... Yeah. I'm trying to think about, like, what Cinderace does. Because, like, it wants to high jump kick you, but you protect it and then it loses half its health to a high jump kick. And then neutral Liquidation still KOs it when it's a fighting type. So, that's good. And I'm also not 100% on the Libero. Like, I know that if Sucker Punch fails, you don't become a Dark-type Pokemon. So if you get protected, I don't know if you become a fighting type Pokemon, so you might still be fire in any way Liquidation kills you anyways. So you can outspeed and finish off some very frail Pokemon with that. This could be a potential 3-hit KO, or if the opponent's team is just like whittled down to nothing and they've only got a couple of health left. Yeah, that works. Sharpedo, good Pokemon. Scolipede, another speed boost Pokemon. It's more reliable than Ninjask because it can maybe survive a hit, and then you can either go for the singles carry or the baton pass. So Life Orb, singles carry. I mean, it works. Has a lot of attack. Use Swords Dance, like you protect, speed boost. Swords Dance, maybe not even protect. Like, sometimes people will get greedy against Scolipede and anticipate the protect and then go for some kind of setup. Scolipede Swords Dances. Or Substitutes, plays it extra safe. Because it's already faster than a lot of Pokemon at 112. So if you're not faster, protect. If you are faster, Substitute or Swords Dance, depending on the situation. Then you can just Poison Jab them out. That's really strong. This does get immune by Steel-type Pokemon, so no sub does kind of get rid of your sweeping potential, but it does make it to where you have, you can hit other Pokemon. Unfortunately, like, you got Bulldoze, so your options against Steel-type Pokemon aren't really that great. Dig is hilarious, and it could work. Because it's still like an 80 base power move with the super effective hit on a +2 Swords Dance. Like, that'll KO a Steel-type Pokemon, so that's cool. And then Poison Jab, just big damage, big sweep. That's a thing. Or you get rid of this. You put in Baton Pass, and then you put in Citrus Berry, and then you win. So, Baton Pass, Citrus Berry, Swords Dance, things. It's Scolipede. It's back. You're gonna see it. We're just in weird times, guys. Like, I've never been, like, sold on Baton Pass. I've never thought it's really that great or anything, because it does require a lot of setup. It can go wrong in some situations, but for the most part, it's a reliable way of putting stats onto a Pokemon. And even, like, a slow Pokemon that doesn't need the Swords Dance, if it gets, like, +2 speed and has, like, some kind of extra strategy going on, it can be pretty effective. Some people don't even run the Protect, they just run the Substitute. So it's like, against a slower Pokemon, you bring in Scolipede, sub-speed boost. If it's actually anti-stall, as an anti-stall Scolipede, this is like the next Butterfree, where it's like, you get the sub, it's a like, you bring this in against Toxapex. Toxapex can't do anything. Sub, Swords Dance, you win. Baton Pass, shenanigans. Or you can also just use the Sword Dance for yourself and Poison Jab until you win. So, those are the busted strategies right now. Still finding more. Gonna do like an exclusively double ones where it's like, oh, just doubles combos. 2 Pokemon doing cool things together, because there's a lot of that going on. And then you can bring a lot of these to singles, doubles, and augment your game with them. So, fun stuff. If you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.